Hi, welcome back. Greg Clowminzer here, and this is a follow-up video to the introduction video. So if you haven't listened to that one, make sure you go and listen to that. We're going to be talking about four different quadrants or four different ways to either orient your life or your business. The first quadrant we're going to talk about is quadrant number one, something that's important and urgent. So these are typically crisis, pressing problems, deadlines, driven projects. They're things that are both important to you, but they also have a sense of urgency. There's something that needs to be handled with them right now. This is a really tough place to do business and life with. It's very taxing to our system. It's often what I call an adrenaline-based lifestyle to get stuck in quadrant number one. We're typically reacting to life and business rather than really initiating it or co-creating it. The second quadrant here, quadrant number two, is something that's important but not necessarily urgent. And when leading a discussion of a group of people and really looking at importance, one of the things that we've defined as importance is something that actually feeds your soul. Something that is based on your value systems, that when that is actually done, when that is actually activity or is satisfied, that you actually feel more alive, more rich. You feel like you're at your very, very best. In business, it's often doing those things that aren't necessarily urgent, like building relationships, but are really, really important to the success of your business. Also things like focusing on opportunities, and planning. Planning is important, not necessarily urgent, and often it's the lack of planning that gets a person to fall back, or a business to fall back into stage one or quadrant one, which is crisis and reacting. Number three, the number three quadrant is not important and urgent. So not important, not urgent. So just imagine that you're working on something that's urgent, there's a deadline to be met, and all of a sudden your phone rings and or an email comes in and a little email box comes up, and all of a sudden you're distracted, and it is urgent, there's something it needs addressed, it needs handling now, and what happens is that you're off task and you're doing something that's not really important to you. It has nothing to do with adding any more value or meaning to what you're doing, but it does need handling. So that's quadrant number three. Quadrant number four is not important and not urgent. And I call this the junk food of the four quadrants. So these are things that have really nothing to do with feeding your soul, or nothing to do with really building your business based on your core values, or what I would call your guiding principles. Things of that nature would be, surfing the web, maybe just reading through the mail or newspapers, or playing games on your iPad, whatever the case may be. It has nothing to do. It's just idle time wasters. The important thing here is a lot of us actually default into this quadrant four. And one of the reasons that we default into quadrant four is we're not taking really great care of ourselves. And we're not actually doing those things that are important to us but not urgent. And as a result, we feel stressed out and overwhelmed, so we're just doing busy stuff to kind of avoid that fulfillment in our life. So one of the most important things to do is to know when you're in quadrant number four, when you're in this mode of junk food, trivia, time waster, and find out how quickly can you move back into quadrant number two, something that's important but not urgent. So that's really the core lesson, or the core piece, or the core lesson, or the core message out of this video, is really look at when you get into quadrant number four, where you're doing things that really aren't feeding your soul, and how quickly can you get back into quadrant number two. This has been Greg Clowminzer. Thanks for listening.